had his foot meter show up. The first three were all left side strokes. This one was right side stroke. No, the first three were right side. This one was left side. It's vision. It's affected some other things.
That's not say that's unusual to affect some body parts. It doesn't usually affect one side or the other. What about mentally? Is he okay?
For the
Well,
most part.
I know he's your brother, but I mean,
Yeah, for the most part.
be nice about it.
For the most part.
Okay.
But it's just simply a safe stroke. The MRI said no.
Where's he at? Overland Park? Which Overland Park Hospital?
Yeah, OPR, yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I usually go to Shawnee Mission, that's why I asked.
Yeah, well, that's where the heart doctor and everything else.
And see, mine was actually at the south one, but he said, I can't do surgery. You gotta go down to Shawnee Mission.
Yeah.
I said, that's another 10-mile drive.
The biggest thing, and they finally figured it out, he had all this numbness on the side, and we had stroke, and pinched nerve in his neck.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Hal's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first thing on the agenda is to approve the December minutes, which we do not have. So we're going to have to take care of that the next meeting. Should have, see if Jenny can't individually email them to each one of us. And maybe you can give her feedback on them before that meeting. Okay, so we're going to open up the new business. The first case we're going to hear is the rezone of or Evergy and south of the power plant. Do we have somebody here to talk about that? Okay. Go ahead. Please identify yourself.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Melissa Van Crum with Rouse Fretz White Goss Law Firm. I am here tonight requesting rezoning of the property that's identified in the application to I-1 Light Industrial. This is property in the far northeastern portion of the county, immediately south and west of the Lacine Power Station and Lacine Lake. I'm here as an agent on behalf of the property owner, Evergy, listed in the property records as Kansas Power and Light and Kansas Gas and Electric due to timing, of course, the predecessors of Evergy. The purpose of the rezoning is for future electrical infrastructure, which specifically here is for a substation. The county's zoning regulations, consistent with state law, provide factors to be considered when considering a rezoning request. And I'm going to go ahead and read those factors.
Is your mic on, ma'am? There should be a green light.
There is a green light.
Thank you.
I may not be tall enough, but but I'll try to talk a little bit louder to help if you can't hear here. But I'm going to go ahead and read the factors for approval of a rezoning along with how we feel that the proposal meets those factors for approval here. Whether the change in classification would be consistent with the intent and the purpose of these regulations. Amongst the purposes of the county zoning regulations is listed facilitating adequate provisions of utilities and other public improvements and services for the benefit of residents of Linn County. The rezoning here tonight is requested in order to provide for future electrical infrastructure next to the existing power station to support really unprecedented demand for electrical generation and distribution capacity. This will help to ensure a more stable, reliable power and grid resilience. The character and condition of the surrounding neighborhood and its effect on the proposed change. The property is west and south of the Lacine Power Station, adjacent to additional Evergy property to the east, and heavy industrial zone property to the south and southeast. The property includes 2200 road and transmission lines just south of the lake, and per the county GIS map, appears to be roughly half in the lake as well, which of course is used in connection with the power station. Other properties in the vicinity are rural, some with agricultural uses, and some properties identified with home sites, with a significant amount of wooded property along the creek in particular, including on this property. The proposal to rezone is to light industrial zoning, which will help transition from the heavier industrial uses of the power station and the heavy industrial uses that are both to the east and to the south of this property. It will also transition from there to the agricultural uses that are on the west and to the southwest as well. The heavy woods that surround the creek will also provide an ongoing buffer for those agricultural and other residential uses to the south and west as well. The next factor is whether the proposed amendment is made necessary because of changed or changing conditions in the area affected, and if so, the nature of such changed or changing conditions. The area in question is mostly heavy industrial zoned, I-2, with much in the immediate vicinity being owned by Evergy for many years. And that's been done in anticipation of future electrical needs. This change in zoning is driven by the need for expanded electrical infrastructure, really to handle the unprecedented, I can't speak tonight, excuse me, unprecedented demand driven by the administration's economic policies and other factors, and the location is a result of the adjacent power station and Evergy-owned property in the vicinity. The current zoning and uses of nearby properties and the effect on existing nearby land uses upon such change and classification. The proposed zoning is compatible with concentration of heavy industrial zone property to the north, the south, and the east, and agricultural property to the west. And as mentioned, it will serve as a transition since what's being requested is a lower intensity use of I-1. The rezoning will not negatively impact the nearby land uses. The proposal to rezone is for Evergy-owned property adjacent to the power station for utility purposes, and as a result will not negatively impact the surrounding uses. Whether every use that would be permitted on the property as reclassified would be compatible with the uses permitted on other property in the vicinity. Uses permitted as of right in the I-1 district are compatible with uses in both the agricultural and heavy industrial zoned uses that are in the immediate vicinity. I-1, as mentioned, is a lesser intensity use, lesser intensity district than I-2, and as a result serves as a transition. Certain uses that are permitted in the I-2 districts that are adjacent to it are either not permitted or would require a conditional use within the I-1 zoning district. This particular zoning district has been proposed because the regulations require it for most electrical infrastructure, including the substation that's proposed. The suitability of the applicant's property for the uses to which it's been restricted. The agricultural zoning designation is traditionally the zoning that's used until such time as redevelopment occurs on a property. Much of the property is forested surrounding a creek, and as a result, only a limited portion of it has been used as agricultural uses. It has been held by Evergy for future utility needs. Given the location of this particular property, immediately south of the power station, being under Evergy ownership and being adjacent to Evergy land across Yancey Road, and having the transmission line that runs through it, the rezoning to permit additional electrical infrastructure is logical and a higher and better use for the property for both the property owner and the county. The proposed substation would only cover a very small portion of the actual parcel, around 1.5% of the parcel, and so agricultural activities could continue on the portions of the property where it does today. The length of time the subject property has remained vacant or undeveloped as currently zoned. The property has never been developed, and that's with the exception of the transmission line that runs through it. Whether adequate sewer and water facilities and all other needed public services exist or can be provided to serve the uses that would be permitted on the property if it were reclassified. The rezoning for a substation is not anticipated to require water or sewer services for operations, but will instead help to expand the electrical infrastructure of Evergy in the county. It will add grid resiliency and help to ensure future stable and reliable power to Linn County. The general amount of vacant land that currently has the same zoning classification proposed for the subject property, particularly in the vicinity of the subject property, and any special circumstances that make a substantial part of such vacant land available or not available for development. There is other industrial land in the vicinity. However, the land is either unsuitable, privately owned, and used for non-industrial uses, or is not in a location that is appropriate for the expansion of electrical infrastructure by Evergy. Given that this is Evergy-owned land adjacent to the power station that is expected to continue operating for some time, and with a transmission line running through it, makes it a logical location for the proposed rezoning for a substation. The recommendations of staff. We appreciate staff's support in processing the application and answering questions that we've had along the way. We've not been advised of any concerns of staff with the application or its consistency with requirements of the zoning ordinance, but appreciate the assistance of staff in processing and answering questions, providing public notice, those types of things. Whether the proposed amendment would be in conformance to and further enhance the implementation of the Linn County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed rezoning would enhance the goals of the county's comprehensive plan. The plan encourages development in appropriate areas, including the industrial park, as the area in question is identified on the opportunities map of the plan. The proposed rezoning will provide electrical infrastructure that can help attract and support quality development in the county. It clusters utility development adjacent to the existing power station, which is a similar development type, and it provides infill development where infrastructure is in place to support it. These are all goals and implementation steps that are listed in the comprehensive plan. It is consistent with the industrial designation in the vicinity, extending to the state line on the future land use map as well. Whether the relative gain to the public health, safety, and general welfare outweighs the hardship imposed by the applicant by not upgrading the value of the property by such reclassification. There would be no relative gain to the public health, safety, and welfare by not approving the application. The approval will help to provide the electrical infrastructure that is necessary to support the expanding economy and goals of the current administration, and it will support goals of comprehensive plan and the industrial park area to provide stable and reliable power to the area. We respectfully request your recommendation of approval for rezoning of this parcel to light industrial, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have this evening. Thank you for your time.
One question I have, the substation you're talking about, you talked about the footprint being 1.5%. Can you
Yeah.
give that to us in square footage or?
Sure. I think the overall square footage, including the fence, which is often set out further for maneuvering of vehicles, is about 7 acres.
Okay.
The actual footprint of the facilities is much smaller. Construction might impact 10 acres, but we're talking about basically a 600-acre parcel. So there's a significant amount that's wooded with the creek that runs through it, and this is not anticipated to impact that heavy wooded portion that kind of runs through the central portion.
Are you thinking about putting it on the east or the west side of this building?
It's early on in the due diligence, but the anticipation is that it would be on the east side and sort of the central portion. The goal is usually to limit tree clearing and that type of thing. So,
Yancey Road.
yeah, so it generally speaking, is expected to be closer to Yancey Road, along where there are clearly already cleared areas to limit the amount of tree clearing that's necessary, and where the transmission line to go up to the power station to the transmission infrastructure up there will be shortened as well.
Now, they just updated that a couple of years ago. Is that needed to help with this, or can that handle this okay?
The transmission?
Yes.
I'm not sure. It's possible that they'll need additional transmission infrastructure, but that's something that will come in later applications, if that is something that's necessary.
But this substation should handle what you already have there?
As far as I understand, yes, but the substation is meant to help to serve additional both distribution and generation capacity that's needed. Any other questions from the commission? Okay.
Is this from 2200 road down to 2100 road?
There is a map that's in the application that will show the actual confines. It's one parcel. So it's one complete parcel. It's about 600 acres. I do think in some portions it goes from Yancey to Wakefield. I'm not sure. It may go all the way to 2100 road. But you should have a map in the application
It
that'll show
doesn't,
you.
Steve. I don't think it goes all the way to 2100. It's just in below there, just in below the spillway.
Jess, you got a map?
Well, it just goes down to about 2250 road. Yeah, where it goes, it's a partial. And they're talking. So,
So it's gonna be west or east of the creek?
It would be east of the creek.
East of the creek.
Between the creek and Yancey Road, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Little prairie meadow there.
Miles.
So how close to 2200 road? How far south of 2200 road would the substation be?
I think that's something, the specific location is something that's yet to be determined through due diligence that's ongoing. There's a whole lot of steps that happen through state and federal consultations and geotech and that type of thing, but that will be further defined and identified in applications, including building permits. There's site plan review. It's possible there'll be a substation. There could be driveway permits, any of those types of approvals that need to go through for county approval to ensure that all the details of placement comply with the various requirements of the zoning ordinance and other county regulations as well.
Now, you already have power lines running through there. You're just gonna attach to those?
I don't know if it'll attach to the power lines that are right there or if it attaches closer up to the power station, but it'll definitely head that direction towards the power station
Okay.
for where the connection comes into play.
Anybody else? Questions? Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak for or against this proposal? Please step to the podium, identify yourself, and tell us if you're a proponent or opponent.
Mike Van Kierspiel, I own the property directly south at 20654 Yancey Road. I'm neither for nor against it. I'm just trying to get an idea of the location of it before, I can form an opinion for or against it. It sounds like it's halfway between 2200 and me, maybe. So,
You're south of it?
yeah, I'm on the west side of Yancey.
Sugar Creek?
Yep, that's me. So I'm just here to try to figure out where they want to put the substation relative to being on my side of the creek. And if the rezoning without a plan is the way to go about it, or wait for the plan on the site and then rezone. That's my only comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Any other comments? Okay, we'll close the podium for comments, and I'll have discussion with the committee. I guess this would be for you, Jacqueline. To Mike's question there, is it proper to rezone this before there is a plan?
Yes, that this is the step that happens first, is whether it would be a suitable property based on the zoning for the thing that they want to build, because they couldn't pull any building permits or whatever until they had the zoning that satisfied the requirements.
Got it.
So this is sort of step one.
Okay. So this is,
So this doesn't mean that you automatically have to approve whatever they want to apply to build. This is just meaning that the use for this land is the light industrial that's being applied for.
got it. Any other questions? Discussion? It looks to me like it fits in with the land, with what's planned up there, and so, yeah.
I'm good with it. I'm really good with it. The power plant is one of our greatest assets up there. And I can't, what they're doing is just a substation. It's not a huge structure. I don't think it's gonna be detrimental to anything that I can see. So I think I'm good.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Okay, move to approve. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second. Any discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor of this rezoning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Okay, now we're going to hear the rezoning request from the Youth Front Camp. Is anybody here from Youth Front here to speak? Just state your name and
Let me ask you, my name is Topher Philgreen. I am the Executive Vice President of Youth Front. I can ask a question real quick, though. I sit on the Miami County Planning Commission. Did you guys get my report, my application and report and narrative? Like, when we do it, usually the staff presents and then the applicant presents and then there's public hearing. So that's what I thought was happening. Is that not the case, or?
we did not get that whole report, but we will have staff give us a recommendation after you speak.
Oh, after I speak?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I just didn't know the order. So just so I know how far to go, the report that I sent to Jenny, you all have not seen?
We have not seen it.
No. Okay. All right. Topher Philgreen. I'm Executive Vice President of Youth Front. Been there for 39 years. I live at 3409 West 222nd Street, Bucyrus, Kansas, north side of Miami County. And so I represent the applicant, and I'm sorry that I assumed this was going to go a certain way, so I'll do the best that I can. So here's the situation. Well, first of all, let me give you just a little historical background. Many of you are familiar with Youth Front, but Youth Front was started as Kansas City Youth for Christ in 1943 during the Second World War. Basically, the kids were running the streets, the men were overseas fighting the war, and the women were in the factories. And so few people around the world started doing stuff with kids to get them off the streets. That's how we got started in 1943. Happens to be my grandfather was one of the ones who started it. So I've been in this world for, since I was born, basically. From about 1946 to about 1967, we used to take kids to camp, and we'd load them up on buses, take them down to Lake Wichita, down at Wichita or John Brown University. And then in 1960, somewhere in about 1967, 68, we acquired some property over by Edgerton. And we built then what's called Circle C Ranch, and became Youth Front Camp West. We changed our name from Kansas City Youth for Christ to Youth Front in 1997 and rebranded a lot of our properties and what we do. So, but we still do business as Kansas City Youth for Christ and are titled that way. So that camp was great. It's one of the best camps around. In fact, that camp has just gone through a pretty major renovation. We have several buildings there that have all been renovated, pool, water slide, all that kind of stuff. About 80% of our kids come from the Kansas City area. And so that camp is doing great. Additionally, over there, we have another parcel in North Miami County where we're going to be building a third camp, or another camp, I should say. And that's going to be happening sometime in the future. We just got granted a conditional use permit from Miami County to build that camp in North Miami County. So there's a lot of stuff happening. That camp was full for several years. And in 1980, somewhere about in there, we bought an old buffalo ranch. And I think it was owned by Thomas and Marjorie Smith, were the people that owned Buffalo Ranch down there. Goes from 2400 Road all the way to 399th in Miami County, and borders the highway. So we're right on 69 highway, and it goes all the way to Miami County. So that kind of gives you a picture. That camp was built in 1982 was our first season. Back then we called it Elbar C Ranch because we had horses and we were more of a dude ranch. We converted that name to Youth Front Camp South. And then somewhere about 2017, we started calling it Youth Front Lacine because we had a lot of outside groups coming from around the country. It was easier to identify with the town that's right next to it than Youth Front Camp South, which south of what? Who knows? So anyway, so that's the camp that we're talking about. That camp's been going now for a lot of years. So today on that camp, we have 22 cabins. We have a dining room, a snack shop, a chapel, a game room, 530-foot water slide, Olympic-sized swimming pool, and 630 acres down there. About half of it's in Linn County, half of it's in Miami County. So Youth Front Camps, And our mission serves kids in all over the Kansas City area. Camping is just one of the things that we do. We do a lot of stuff up in Kansas City, and over the course of an entire calendar year, we probably serve about 12,000 kids in the Kansas City and surrounding area. Many of the kids serve from here, been on teen staff, summer staff, full-time staff, all from this area, and in Miami County for all of our camps. Hey, thanks, Jess, for doing that. I think that's the narrative, so I'll be repeating some of that probably. So,
We thank you for your understanding.
no problem. I'm good at talking. I'm great at talking. I'm no problem there. So, yeah, so here's our situation. Our camp, so we renovated the other camp. We're getting ready to start building on another camp, but this camp down at Lacine, what we call Youth Front Camp Lacine, it's now 43 years old. And it's become pretty old. We need to do some serious renovation. It's one of those things where we have cabins. We have 22 cabins that were built 43 years ago with volunteers. And they're built on the side of a hill that's moving. And so we have a lot of cabins that are virtually uninhabitable, that they need to be scraped and built new. Some of them can be built on the existing foundation. All of our main buildings are structurally sound, but they need, cosmetic renovations, that kind of a thing. So here's our problem, is that we need to do this, but we got some donors that are pretty excited about the new stuff we're doing, but renovating isn't quite as exciting. So what we're trying to do is we took the problem to our board of we need to raise some cash, we need to raise some money to do our next phase of development for our programs, our camping programs. And obviously we exist on donations, but it's hard to raise money. And so this is going to be a pretty big project. We'd like to not raise that money from donors. We'd like to raise it through other assets that we have that we can use for different things or, bring in cash. So that's kind of what we took to the board of directors. The board of directors then looked at our property and asked us to put together a plan for what we might do. And so that's why we're here today. We've looked at selling our north property. We've looked at a variety of different things. And the conclusion that we have come to is that we own a piece of land that is very unique in Linn County. And it's the land that's south of our camp. So it's fully in the Linn County side. It's west of 69 Highway with a berm, bordered on the south by 2400 Road, which on the other side is Wade's Quarries. It was just approved, not too long ago for the new plant that they're going to put in there. To our east, we have an existing quarry that's currently owned by Hams. To the east of that, contiguous with over half of our property, is Evergy Industrial, I2 basically. And so we feel like we're in a really unique thing. We have a piece of property that's pretty unique in that it's has some higher use than what it is right now. So what we're doing is we're coming to you tonight and asking you to rezone this from, I believe it's ag, to I2, heavy industrial. That's what we're asking for, heavy industrial. So that's what we're requesting. Basically, here's for the following reasons why we think that we can do this. And I will say the purpose of doing this is our mission. Like we want to do more for kids. We want to have some really excellent camping facilities. We need to raise some cash and we want to use this property to do it. So we don't know if that's a sell or if that's a lease. We're not sure, but we know that if it's zoned I2, that it's going to be a whole lot more valuable than what it is right now. So this is why we're requesting this rezone to I2 heavy industrials for the following reasons. Number one, this parcel is currently not farmable. It will not support row crops. It has some limited hay, although limited because there's rock about 4 inches under the ground, hence why the quarries really like this area. But it will not suit. This would be considered what a lot of people would call a brownfield. It's best for quarries or something like this, some heavier use like this. The land directly to the east and north next to the county line and contiguous to ours is owned by Evergy and is currently zoned I2 heavy industrial. This existing use is permitted by right according to section 12201. I'm not going to cite all the sections in your code. You guys have that. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Number three, the land directly to the east, south, on the south end and next to 2400 Road and also contiguous to ours and on our land in a long-term lease owned by Hams, I believe. That changes a lot. I think it's Hams now. Probably Jake might know better than I. But it's a fully operating quarry. And so although this operation can be done by CUP on ag, the activity is also very conducive to something that would be on I2, highly disruptive to the peace and tranquility in a heavy industrial activity area. The land directly to the south of 2400 Road across the street and contiguous to ours is owned by I can't remember what the name of your quarry is. Is it Wade's?
It was.
The one that you're just doing? Mulberry limestone. Has been approved to be a quarry there. So right across the street, we have another quarry. Number 5, the border to the west is a very tall berm that we got by happenstance when they expanded 69 Highway. When they expanded that, they had a situation where they needed some water, and we said, we'll trade you water if you build a berm for us. And so we gave them water out of our lake for them to make their concrete. And in exchange, all the overburden from down south came up and made that big, nice, long berm. So when you're driving on the highway, you don't even know. You don't even see our land. You can't even see our land from the highway or hear it. And it helps ours. It helps the noise on our land a little bit to shield it from the highway. So that's going to be on the west. And then, of course, you have the highway itself. So you have a 4-lane, improved highway right there that runs along our entire property. Number 6 is on the north side of our camp is our camp. So we have, like I said, we have about 630 acres. There's 297 in this particular parcel that we're asking to rezone. There is a cutout that is our nonprofit portion that is not included because that's where our buildings are. So we want to maintain those. Probably the plan in the future is to build a modified, depending on what happens with this land, which we don't know, which I'll talk about in a second, build a modified berm, possibly even punch a road that goes north on our land that goes to the north into Miami County, kind of up there by the Atwoods, and punch a new entrance onto our land that's on 399th Street. So that's kind of the plan. In summary, our camp is surrounded by heavy industrial zoning or heavy industrial activity and a 4-lane divided highway and a berm. The surrounding neighborhood will not be affected by what could eventually take place on this land were it to be rezoned to I-2. So this will be good for us and for everybody. So, I'm going to take questions here in just a second. This is the part I didn't know I was going to say. I would say, as a fellow planning commission member in another county, I think one of our jobs is to weigh the public's interests versus the interests of private individuals. And that's a tough job. I know, I've been there. I know what that's like when you're trying to say, well, does this person's rights trump this person's rights? And, it feels like our job sometimes as government officials or quasi-government officials is to protect each other from each other, not necessarily to dictate what people can do, but to make sure that one person doesn't encroach on the other. And so the other part of our job, which is not so much planning commission as it is actual commissioners, is to figure out how to benefit all of the residents by bringing in things that lower the tax base and bring in taxes and some of those kinds of things. And the challenge, as we've seen in way North Miami County up there by Intermodal, is trying to find tracts of land that don't encroach on neighbors, don't, destroy the peace and tranquility of the neighborhood, but also increase that tax base that helps all of the citizens and all the residents. So as a fellow planning commissioner, this feels like this might be a perfect scenario for a win-win. Helps us because it makes that land usable, leasable, sellable as highest and best use, as well as helps the county. And there's no neighbors to interfere with that aren't currently interfered way more than anything that would happen on this property. So those are all the reasons we would like to get this rezoned to I-2. Obviously, we know that if we're successful, that whatever happens in the future, that they're going to be back here, for whatever it is that they would do. We're not sure. We just have been told by professionals that we've employed that with the president's reshoring a lot of remanufacturing, that there's 2 things that are sought after. Land that's zonable, that's amenable to manufacturing or to heavy industrial, close to power. And we are literally contiguous with a power plant. So it's you can't get much closer than where we are as far as getting close to power. So that's our request. And, I list a bunch of things down in there. If you go down below that we humbly request, I list a bunch of things in the code. Not gonna belabor you with all those. I went through all the code and highlighted the different areas. But in summary, our mission is to work with students in the Kansas City area, young adults, primarily from about 3rd grade. We have a day camp, pre-adolescent, middle school are the ones that mainly come to camp. We have a service program for high school students called Teen Staff. It's one of the best things that we do, all the way up to college students that come as our summer staff, who then eventually come on our full-time staff. We have about 42 staff whose full-time job it is to just do positive things with students. and their spiritual lives in the whole Kansas City area. Our camps are a vital part of that. It's a bedrock, it's a cornerstone of what we do. And I would ask you to approve this so that you can help us continue to accomplish our mission. We're a nonprofit. I think I said that at the beginning. There's no person who is trying to or could even get cash from this because we're a nonprofit organization. Been in the area for over 80 years. So I'll entertain any questions. And if there's a staff report, or I don't know what the procedure is from here. So
We're going to ask you some questions.
okay,
And then we're going to ask for some more comment, and then we'll ask for a staff report.
perfect.
So this involves all the land you own in Linn County.
No, not all of the land. It's all of the land that does not occupy our camp buildings.
Okay.
So we have 630 acres, and when we had horses and we used to have ATVs, we used a lot more of the land for trails, because you just need a lot more land when you're doing heads of horses and ATVs, especially when you're doing it at the same time, because ATVs with 14-year-olds on them don't interact with horses very well. We stopped the horse business way back in the 90s. Liability just got too high to have city kids on horses, and so we stopped doing that. And then ATVs, those were a hit with the 15-year-old boys, but they entertained 6 or 7 at a time, and they were somewhat dangerous. So we went to other like water-based activities, the blob, the pool, the water slide, play park on the lake. Entertain a lot more kids, a lot more fun. So we just don't need all that land. We probably use maybe 90 of our 630 acres regularly for programming. And so that's one of the reasons why our board has said, hey, maybe for the first time in the history of our organization, we should look at selling some land, which is typically goes against our nature to sell land. But, because of the uniqueness of this parcel, we feel like it might be time to sell it or lease it. I mean, there's no plans. There's no plans.
Southern half?
Southern half.
Southern half.
Miami, not included.
Yeah.
This is Linn County only. If you have a map, there's a little cutout. Yeah, not that. So it's parcel number. I can go back and look it up.
That's okay.
Okay.
I do have a question. You're talking about this rock quarry up here? Are you gonna have any buildings there? And when they do dynamite blasting, what's it gonna affect with those buildings?
Well, that would be something that any new lessor or lessee or owner would have to take that into account if blasting affected whatever they do.
So you're not gonna build there?
No, we're not. Our plans are not to do anything ourselves. We just want to make the land its highest and best use for whatever that might be. That might be a manufacturing plant. It might be a storage building. I don't know. It just seems like it's a good.
I misunderstood you. I thought you were gonna put part of the camp there by those rock quarries.
No. We hear the rock quarries, and I'll testify to the safety of those rock quarries. We're as close as anybody, and
I lived
not
out
a
there for
worry.
while, so I know.
Yeah.
They used to splashing once in a while. I couldn't imagine those kids right there next to it.
Yeah, no, we've done tests. We've tried to get them to scare our kids, and the way these blasts are today, you don't even hardly know that it happens. They just, and they're done. So,
Okay.
So to clarify, about 90 of the acres is going to be maintained by you guys for your buildings and your camp.
correct.
And the rest of it is,
That's what we would like to rezone. So the little, that's why I'm only listing that one parcel. It's not the parcel that is currently, it's also that particular, it may be still ag, but it's also in the nonprofit arena because we're nonprofit. So what we do on that little cutout up there in the north, it's not even in the north, it's on the north side. We'll continue using for camp, and we have access to plenty of trails for what we do, especially down in that low area. We have, if we're not riding anything motorized, we can even go on the parkland that we have access to as well. So, other questions?
The land you got, you say you have 640 acres?
We have 630 total, both counties.
Okay, in both counties.
Right. This one is
This
297.
piece of property that you're talking about, has it already been split?
Say that again.
You say you're wanting to keep the cabins and everything. Have you already made a split?
Yeah, that was done a long time ago.
This 257 acres is a complete different property than where the cabins are at.
Yes, that is correct. Completely different parcel.
That's what I wanted to get.
Correct.
I didn't get that quite clear.
No, we've engineered to know if that's a situation we go through, that part of our process will be punching a road to the north if we need to, or we don't know what might happen.
So where the cabins are at, you're not wanting to change that to heavy industrial?
No.
Okay.
No, that stays as is, just like it is. Hopefully with new buildings.
Any more questions of? Okay, Thank you very much.
All right, and I can come back up for more questions if there's
Yeah,
something.
yeah, if we have more questions, we'll bring you back up. Thank you, Toby.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak for or against this? Okay. How about, Jess, why don't you read the staff report this time?
Trying to get a map pulled up so everyone can see where that planting was.
Oh, that's good.
I could get it.
Okay.
Okay, this is the staff report. Case number CUP 25-04. Hearing date January 13th, 2026. Date prepared January 9th, 2026. Applicant Youth Front Camp. The applicant is requesting a rezoning of 257.9 acres from agricultural to I-2 heavy industrial. The stated intent is to sell or lease the property for future industrial use. No specific development plan has been submitted at this time. This is in section 19, township, Lincoln. Got the township and range wrong on there. Notice. The notice was properly posted in the official county newspaper on December 24th, 2025. In addition, notice was sent to owners of all properties within 1,000 feet pursuant to state law and Linn County zoning regulations. Affected zoning articles. The request is consistent with long-range planning goals for industrial growth in the area. The site size and location makes it suitable for future industrial development, subject to later review. Impacts to infrastructure, traffic, and utilities will be evaluated when a specific project is proposed. Any future development will require site plan approval and compliance with all applicable standards. Recommendation. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning from ag to I-2 heavy industrial for future industrial uses. Will be reviewed through the standard development process to ensure compatibility and adequate public services.
Thank you. Okay, discussion.
I move to approve.
Motion, there is a move to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, no. It passes. On to the commissioners.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Is this a recommending body or a deciding body? Does it go to the county
Goes to the
commission?
county commissioners.
And when is that? Do you know?
There's probably certain provision,
2 weeks.
2 weeks or so?
2 weeks,
Okay, and they meet at what time? Just,
9 on Monday morning.
Except this following one where it's a holiday, it'll be on Tuesday.
So Jess, can you be sure to notify Topher that? Okay, okay. Thank you, Topher. Okay, so on to old business. Last time we heard the rezoning and CUP requests for the motocross track. We've had the hearing on that. We've had comments on that. We asked the thesis to give us a site plan. They have. We sent that out to everyone yesterday. I'm going to ask a representative or somebody from the Thies family to come up and go through that plan. At that time, we'll open the floor for comments. I want to specify, we're going to ask for comments. We want to hear everybody, what they have to say, but we're going to do it once. We're not going to go back and forth in several trips to the podium. So if you have comments, come to the podium. We want to hear what you say. We may ask you back for questions, but once you've said your piece, we're not going to go back and forth, just to try to keep some order to it. So it looks like, Eric, you're ready to present, Eric or Emily? Yep. Okay.
I came in last week and I gave her a little thumb drive with some audio. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, I just want to make sure. So do we want to wait for stuff up there?
How do you, just how do you want to present it?
Well, so we were asked to make sound videos from different parts of the property, which I did.
Yeah, I've got a suggestion.
Using the tester.
I've got a suggestion. What I'd like to see if we do is to go through the letter that we sent and the answers you gave. Let's go through that whole thing first,
Okay.
and then we can get into some of your backup, some of the backup you sent.
So do you want me to go through and just read the questions and the
Yeah,
responses?
yes.
Okay.
You don't have to read them, you can tell us the answers.
Okay, okay, so we included, well, actually 3 aerial views. One designated for just personal training, one for the one race that we'll have next year or this year. And then one, in the event that emergency vehicles were required and an ambulance came in, what that would look like.
Now, maybe we can show that aerial view. Can you get that up there, Joe?
Yeah, give me just a minute.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry.
It's okay.
To the whole sharing thing.
We can,
I will say that once they get the aerial view up, I went over to mapping and they printed out a couple of just our property and then of the 4 plots with the neighbors and everything on it. And what they actually gave me, you can see it was a training day and you can see where everybody is at and the layout. It's small, but it's an actual training day.
here we go.
Oh, that's the one that. Okay. That one there. So what you're looking at here is our house at the bottom. We have 2 plots, 2 tracts of land. And the driveway splits. And what he has done is those tracks right there to the left are no longer in use. Everything is being put on that side of the property. So the actual thing that you're looking at on the right would be what the bikes would be training on.
Okay, so just for orientation, to the right is north, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's further away from the houses.
okay.
This is what you're talking about. See where the little cursor is?
Yes.
So you were using tracks south of the driveway, now you're no longer using?
Yes.
Is it parking, something like that?
Yeah, it's just gonna be field. Yeah.
When did you stop using those?
I don't know, a month ago.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Okay,
But so you can't see it, but there's a marina cross-track there also, and I've got it about a quarter of the way flattened. I haven't had time, we're very busy at work, but I'm working on it.
there, say that again, there's a what?
There's an arena cross, it's kind of like a super cross track.
Okay,
A smaller jumpy track.
okay,
They run them in places like Sprint Center, Hale, downtown Kansas City, but it was for training for those events. But I've got it about a quarter of the way down, but it's a lot of dirt.
so what you say is you're leveling that, is that what you're doing? Okay. But you're no longer using either of those tracks south of the driveway, okay.
The grandkids might, but not for training purposes.
They've got electric bikes too that they ride.
Okay, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, the one below, I think it copied him twice on this one. That one, it's for reference for the sound videos. I've numbered them 1 through 6 on the audio files. And it shows on this map, he's put the numbers so you can see where those decibel videos were taken from, just so it kind of gives you a perspective.
Where is the house that's south of you on this map?
Farther that way,
Can't see it.
Oh,
farther to the left.
Yeah,
Oh.
South of there, straight to the left.
yeah, that's Mark and Betty's house, and then Dave and Cheryl's is parallel to that.
You're just straight north of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to orientate.
We're almost straight north of Dave's house.
Okay.
You can see the little cluster of buildings.
Okay.
And that's duplicates. It scanned it in twice for some reason.
So when you took those sound bites, were you at home? Were you at somebody else's house? You were on the highway?
There was six different spots.
Okay.
Basically,
At
close to the track,
Okay.
on the opposite side of that tree line.
Okay.
And then I went down the fence line to basically to Mark and Betty's property. And then I went down McElwain's property to Dave and Cheryl's property. Videoed me holding the sound decibel meter so you can see how high it went.
Okay.
And then I walked up in Mark and Betty's yard and got decibel readings basically in line with the back of the house. So, and then I also took one standing right on top of the jump as kids were riding.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see the decibel reading, and you'll also be able to hear what it was picking up.
So do you want to hear those now?
It's up to them.
it's your presentation.
We also videoed the amount of bikes there, and I videoed through the parking lot to show where they were all parking, basically around, kind of in our front yard.
We basically invited 20 people to come out. We don't typically have 20 people there, but we wanted maximum effect.
Which file do you want?
Well, okay, so I'm trying to see here. Let me grab. Just so I have reference.
My reference. When you were here last time, you said that the decibels that they required at different tracks, right around 100, is that correct?
No, so for 2026, the American Motorcyclists Association at all outdoor motocross events, the maximum decibel reading is 113 dBA.
Okay, I knew it was around 100 something.
And that's in the rule book, but those are for like, if they had a supercross at Arrowhead Stadium, if, when they have an outdoor motocross, there's 40 bikes that line up.
But that's outdoor sound, not indoor.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
If we need to come back to this particular one, that is the one that shows if you need reference to, because when he's speaking in the audio, he's telling you where he's at. So if we need to go back and reference that, we can. Okay.
So what number video is at the south border? Your south property line? I can't read it.
Can I go up and look?
Sure.
One on the left.
Will that enlarge any at all? Or is that-
So.
One is up by the house, 2 is at the property line.
Oh, that's better. Thank you.
Thank you.
So 1 and 2 would probably be appropriate to play. Probably 2.
And the one in Betty's yard,
Okay.
because that would,
1, 2, and 3, yeah.
that would be level with, where they're at.
Is that 3? Can you tell?
Yeah,
Where's 3 at?
up there. You've got 1 on the bottom and straight up there it's 3.
I believe so. The Y.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, 3 would be
There. Number one. I think it's muted.
Volume.
It's pretty quiet. I'm impressed. It's pretty quiet.
Those are getting popular.
It is.
Do y'all want me to replay it? Because it doesn't, the sound's not coming through from the TV, it's only coming from this computer, so I could put a microphone to do it.
Sure. I've got them on my phone too.
Oh,
Make
but
it easier.
no, because you won't ever figure out which one's what.
Oh,
Okay, so this one is number 1,
I think that'll help.
which is the one by the house at the bottom.
it's our tree line. About 150 feet from our fence line.
That just sounds like a win.
There's 20 bikes out on the track right now. We have different ones. Which is the maximum as far as classes go. And that's the Carney household right there. And we have a hard wind blowing to the south right now. That might be the video.
I can a little bit hear the motorcycle.
On the other videos, we actually have the decimal meter that
Yeah.
shows.
Okay.
Those are the ones that we need to focus on because
That one's hard to hear because of all the wind noise.
Oh, shoot.
So bear with me, you guys. I'm sorry.
you're fine. Here's a video of the parking to the trees to the south. There's 20 vehicles there with trailers. And there's 20 bikes out on the track right now.
Where's the decimal meaning?
I don't know.
Wait. Keep making me do it.
Was that it?
No, there's a couple more. I'm sorry. This is not my normal job.
I don't think anybody else would do a normal job. So you're okay.
She turned red.
This is down at their fence line by the house. And then there's the other neighbor's house right next door. The ones that said it doesn't bother them.
Did you? Oh, there it is.
Decibel meter. 50 to 60.
So that's at the property line, not at the house.
That's at the other side of their property line. Okay, so we got bikes coming at us. I'm on the actual track. We've got a group of kids right there riding, doing training. And we got these guys here. Keep in mind that so that's your decibels there. Age levels and skill levels vary. So you can't even hear those guys over there. Very fast. by the arena crosstrack.
Okay, so this is at our tree line, probably 300 feet from the track. There's 20 bikes out there right now. We've got about a 80 to 90 point decibel. Which my understanding, looking at the chart, a washing machine does about 15 to 80.
And there's one more.
So here's our parking. Over there. This is the main congregation right here. On the outside of the fence. There's exactly 20 bikes here today.
That's all the video. Is there something else that y'all wanted to show?
The only thing that she recommended that we do, there's another aerial view, which I think I sent over this morning, that she was like, if in the event that an ambulance needs to get in there, what does that look like? So I had an aerial view just showing entrance, exit, driveway.
I'm not sure if I have that one.
It's in there.
I do have one more aerial view, so I'm just gonna.
I think that was in the event, it showed the layout when the race event took place. Yeah. So it shows you those three fields are used for parking on the day of the event. It shows you,
Shows the EMT right there.
yeah, that's where the EMTs are inside the track. It shows the start, like the start of the race, where they finish, where the
Where is the start?
the start is
Right next to that green roofed barn.
Do you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that whole field is fenced and is gated. So because we have animals, we've got cows and a horse. So when it is not in use, it is locked up. But the spectator area is not in the race area. It is gated off and sits behind.
Are there any seats of any kind, or would you stand?
The bleachers.
Where are they at?
Right next to the
Where
start.
it says spectator viewing, that's where the bleachers are. But typically people just stand along the fence and watch.
Yeah.
Was there something else you wanted me to show you all?
I don't think so. I think everything else is just handwritten.
And so this is your opportunity to finish whatever you want.
Yeah. So what we did, we answered the questions that were sent to us. It was kind of broken down. One for, I feel one for the race event versus the personal training, because that's so much smaller.
Yeah.
And the race event is for 2 days. So what I included, we gave information for the race, but as far as the personal training, we gave you a schedule. This is what it looks like. Depends on what time of year it is. If it's the summertime, they typically like to start early. Wintertime, when it's colder, it starts later. So the training session would either go from 9 to 2 or from 10 to 3. And it shows how it's organized. It shows, so from 9 to 9:45, people can go out and warm up. And then there's a 15-minute break. Then from 10 to 10:15, the bikes are off and they're talking about what it is that they're going to be working on, and some instruction to help them. Then they practice that section for 30 minutes, take a 15-minute break. Then from 11 to 11:15, they're doing on to another one where they're discussing this is what we're going to be doing now. This is what I'm looking for. This is a proper way of doing it. Then they'll practice that section from 11:15 to 12. There is no bike riding from 12 to 1 because of lunch. And then, again, the last section is from 1 to 1:15, talking about it, and then doing 45 minutes of practicing that. We've made it very specifically clear and known that if you are not in those time periods where you should be on the track practicing, you cannot be riding your bike, just willy-nilly. Trying to put together like an example of the calendar, but again, it's really hard to do, especially when it's all based on weather. So, like right now, it was a really nice weekend. We had 2 guys come out for a couple hours this last weekend. That's all that was here. But typically it will pick up in March when the kids are on spring break. So there's typically 2 spring break camps at the end of March, then 1 in April, where it can be it's weather pending, a 3-day event. It could be a 5-day event, again following the timing. Some people will stay there, some people go home, some people go to hotels,
And they leave their trailers.
and they can leave their trailers. And then in May, when the school gets out, is typically when it will pick up because the kids aren't in school, go through the summertime, and then it's just weather related. As far as weather incidences, as far as preparing for something like that, if there's bad weather, we don't have anything going on at our house. Any questions?
So on the calendar example you've given us, March, you say 5 days?
They're spring break camps, like when the kids are because everybody has a different spring break. So,
Okay. So it's not 5 days a week, it's 5 days for the
camp.
camp. And then you talk about January, February, in fact, throughout this, you talk about training 10 to 3. Yet on your typical training session, you talk about 9 to 2.
Right, because it depends on when it's hot, people want to start earlier.
Yeah.
When it's
Like
cold,
if it's gonna be
people
100
want to
degrees.
start later. So it would either be 9 to 2 or 10 to 3, depending on,
So basically it's 5 hours with a 1 hour break.
yes, with,
So 4 hours,
3
4 hours of training.
well, there's, I think 3 15-minute breaks also.
Okay.
So out of that 5 hours, an hour and 45 minutes there's no bikes.
Okay.
And they can't just stay up and ride over and over again because you do get tired because it is very physically taxing on a person. Trust me, I did it a long time. But
Okay.
Let's see.
When you have these events, are they Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday?
Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday?
yeah. And there is times that like dad will call Christopher up and say, hey, can I bring my kid out and do like a one-on-one? And so they'll go out for a couple, 3 hours. We call it personal training.
I also included in the packet some release forms. It's a standard release form in the motocross industry. Anybody that, keep in mind, this is not an open facility. You have to get invited to come here. All spectators, basically parents that bring their kids, have to sign the release and waiver of liability, which I included in there. And then each rider that is participating in the training, there's a parent's release form for their children, and there's a release form for adults. So everybody that steps foot on it prior to doing that, and that's just standard in the industry, the race industry.
No, you may have covered this last time. You have Johnny on the spot, somebody takes care of understanding.
Yes, once a week.
Now, the trailers, do they boondog? Do you have connections? You have water, you have electric?
No, we do have connections, but we use them basically for our family,
Okay.
for the, when I say,
35, 50 amp, what are they? You know?
28, 35, 50.
Okay,
And we have 3 of those.
okay.
but primarily if somebody's staying there, it's generated, or it's run by a generator.
Off of their own?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So they're boondocking basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so I included the waiver forms. Let's see, as far as the race event, it's everything, all of the liability and all of the insurance, they provide that for each facility that they go to. And you have,
They bring their own flaggers, they bring their own EMTs, which are licensed, and he brings his own staff.
let's see,
And this is their 28th year.
hours, okay, 92. So, okay, so on the personal training practice and individual bike, maximum number of days per month, or per, okay, I put 5 days a week. That would be the maximum in that time period. And so hours of operation for winter, spring, summer, and fall. So 9 to 2 during the summer days, 10 to 3 during cooler times. And you have the schedule. And we showed you the maximum number that we would have, which would be 20, and that was a planned event, so you could get an idea of the sound. Typically, it's 5 to 10 bikes. We do have a $1 million umbrella policy on our property. The event, as far as the race, one a year, 2-day event. Typically, it would be from 9 to 4. Any weather emergency plans, the event would be canceled, would be postponed or rescheduled at another time. Okay, as far as the noise, on those aerial views, and as you can see in the videos, we have a creek that goes through our property. It goes on the south property line between us and them, and then curves around on Mark and Betty's side. So there's trees and there's a creek that separate all of that. We are trying to be accommodating with the noise, but my question is, if there's not a noise ordinance, we're just, I mean.
Yeah, there's not a noise ordinance, but we can require for any business certain standards.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to do here, because the noise seems to be the
only issue.
Number one.
The big issue, the biggest issue.
But I put in here what the guidelines for 2025 were as far as what the American Motorcyclist Guides were. How will we notify the neighbor of organized events? I will send a certified letter to them.
Okay.
Are there just the two neighbors south of you?
And our
And one to the north. They're actually the closest one, but they're family.
Let's see. Features.
So we've been doing this a long time, and there was talk at the last meeting about safety. And we try to take every precaution. We've had, I'm not going to lie, we've had injuries, and but nothing serious. The parents always take over from there. If it's something that we feel like we're ambulance for, we do. And out of the 5 races in 23 years that we've had an ambulance at 2 of them. The third one, we were going to hire them, but they
backed out.
They canceled that. They said they had something come up. They charge us around $1,200. And when we have a race, that is probably the number one thing to have, because you've got that vehicle right there. But we could not always get that. But the EMTs that we have are very good.
Where are they from? Are they local?
They live on the Missouri side. They follow the whole Missouri Vintage Series.
Okay.
They do every event.
Are they full-time EMTs?
Yeah.
Whenever they're not doing this?
Yes.
So we're trying to be very accommodating, and make all these changes. The only problem that we have is, so say this doesn't go through and he can't do this, then he'll have to go back to racing and he'll be using those tracks every single day to practice it. And there's nothing it's just private property at that point in time.
And both of our grandkids race. Their friends come down and ride. There's other members of our family that ride. We have good friends that ride. They always come down.
Well, after the 2 bikes left this weekend, the neighbors were riding their dirt bikes, and
that was on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah.
So that almost sounds like an ultimatum. Either we don't pass it or you're gonna do it anyway.
What? No. I'm
That's what it sounded like.
no. That's not how I meant to come across. I'm saying it's a sticky. It's a sticky situation.
This is all he knows.
It's very hard to how do I want to say that? Distinguish between personal riding. We don't want to cause any problems.
I'm just trying to figure out what you meant by that.
No.
But how do you determine if my grandkids have 5 of their friends down the ride versus my son's got 10 kids out there training?
Okay.
We moved down here for this reason, and there's a track bigger than ours that operates in Parker, and they've been there since 2021 or 22. And they've got quite a bit more land, but they're hosting a round of the Missouri Vintage. They do hare scrambles, which is basically woods racing. That's called the Moto Farm. And then there's the one in Lacine too. But the last, in the 23 years that we've been here, my neighbor has farmed my ground. I have driven a fertilizer truck for him at the Hammond elevator. And so it's not like we haven't had neighborly interactions. And I've never once complained about anything they do. Granted, what we do is a little bit more extreme. I get it. But there's things that are being said now, things that are going around.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about it, but we had to send out a letter. So.
Okay, I've got some questions for you.
Sure.
With noise being the biggest issue, and I'm new to this. I don't know anything, pretend to know anything about motocross, but I have done some reading. It seems like the start is one of the noisiest.
The number one noisiest thing.
Okay.
Yes, because every bike is lined up, motors are revved up, the gate drops, which we don't have a gate, we just drop a card. And then once that happens, it filters down quite a bit.
Is there any chance you can move the start to the northern part of the property?
Yep. That'd be a piece of cake.
Okay.
We could even set it up to where on the start, we could line them up along the north tree line with the exhaust pointing away from the south.
Okay.
You're talking about easy things to fix.
Okay, so, so on your DBA meter, do you have an acoustic calibrator? Has that been calibrated?
I had just bought it.
Okay.
Amazon, and I did like a Google search, which one was good, which one was bad.
Okay. So from what I've been able to gather, there's 2 types of testing at the bike. There's the SAE 1287 test, and there's a AMA dynamic sound test.
So
are you familiar with those 2?
So one is maybe just 2 feet off the muffler, and then one is after the moto once the bike is fully hot. That's how they determine that. And trust me, bikes fail all the time. We've had some at our house.
Yeah. So there's a little more to those tests than that. I mean, basically the SAE test is tested at a certain RPM, either 70% of the max, I believe, 75% of the max on single cylinder and 50% of the max on multi-cylinder. And it's specific distance behind the tailpipe.
Okay, now in traditional dirt bike racing, there is no twin
Okay, so let's throw that
Yeah.
out. So just in that type of test, American Motorcycle Association, U.S. Forest Service, MOVAT, Missouri Motocross is 94 to 96 decibels.
That's not correct.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So in the other test, and they use this from what I read, professional events, it's 112 because the test is different.
Yes,
Okay, so you agree with me now?
yes.
Okay.
I do.
So, but are you familiar enough with the two testing requirements to know which one is more friendly?
Probably the forest one, but I didn't know that there was one for forest because I never raced woods. I mean, it was always motocross, so.
The professionals tend to use this dynamic test, which is 112. But
At sanctioned events.
But the amateurs and some of the U.S. required tests use the other. I don't know that there's that much difference. But I just wanted to learn more about the two and how you're doing it. When you're testing the bike at the tailpipe, how far are you? What's the RPM? What are you doing?
Maybe 3 feet, 3/4 throttle. But 2 strokes are different than 4 strokes too. I mean, they both put off different unique sounds.
Okay.
One's more poppy and crackly.
Would you be willing to adhere to one of these standards?
Yep.
Okay.
So when somebody shows up at our property, we DBA test them, video it, write it down.
Yeah, but there's certain standards, certain distance from the tailpipe, certain for a single cylinder, for multi-cylinder, certain RPM. I think that's something that I would like to see required in the special use permit. Go ahead.
I'm
Mike.
sorry. Did it say whether 2-cylinder or a 2-stroke or 4-stroke difference in the noise or just?
No, there isn't. Not in the standards that are published.
Is the noise just irregardless of whether it's 2 or
It's just
4-stroke?
one's a 2-stroke and one's a 4-stroke. 4 strokes.
I mean, I understand the difference, but is there a difference in the DBA that they require for one or the
No.
other? Is it just a baseline?
Baseline.
Okay,
But like if I was to go to an outdoor motocross national and line my bike up,
okay,
I would have to adhere to that 112.
okay.
So
So it doesn't matter whether you run 2-stroke, 4-stroke, it has to stay at that distance. Okay.
Okay. What do you feel is a fair DBA reading at the property line?
I don't really have an answer for that. Because I mean, it's gonna vary on like winds blowing south, winds blowing north.
Fair maximum.
What was my reading down there?
Anywhere from 50 to 75.
Did you say you got that from Missouri, that 112, or is that national?
No, it's all over. It's national.
Okay.
Yeah. 112 is just a different kind of test. I don't think there's much difference between the two. It's just how you do it.
Okay. So if you got 90 and 112, split the difference at 100.
Yeah, well, I think what we need to decide on is which test we're going to ask for.
Okay,
And that's just at the bike.
right.
What my question to him was at the property line,
Oh, at the property line.
at the property line, the noise at the property line, what he feels like is a fair
What do you
fair
think,
enough.
Christopher?
Well, I mean, it really depends on,
You're gonna have to come up.
I'd say it would really depend on, if you're basing it off of when we have an event where there's a race, or, if we have an event where it's a training, where as far as the actual outcome, where there's gonna be an increased sound for our event, but for our training, it would be a completely, so you'd have, if we're going off of tests, we're gonna have to get actual readings from real events that are not guess kind of numbers.
So what he's saying, are we talking just in the training aspect
Yeah,
of it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
So if you do 10 bikes versus 20, I mean, it's probably gonna be louder, so.
And like, what do you mean?
Racing.
I'm just trying to,
It's out on the track.
just like they've come up with a standard and a baseline at the bike.
Yes.
What should the baseline be at the property line?
No.
No,
Um,
no.
So when they're doing these professional events, they test every bike.
Right?
During the event, they don't test it because it's quite a bit loud.
All right.
So I don't know.
I feel that 80 would be good. I feel comfortable with that. I don't,
Okay.
because we had 20 bikes and it didn't get up to that. And I think a lot of what you were picking up was the wind because it was pretty
But-
windy that day.
But during a race, it's gonna be a little bit loud, so.
Any more questions for?
But a race is just the one day.
Correct.
I don't,
It's two.
Yeah.
It's a 2 day.
two-day thing, but that's one weekend.
Correct, correct.
That's not the big issue. 'Cause
Right.
One weekend doesn't make the year.
Correct.
I
But
don't, that is,
you got one bike or you got 50 bikes.
yeah, but for the 2 day event, that's nothing. We need to focus more on the yearly, when there's gonna be somebody there every
Well, there's
2
never
weeks,
50 bikes.
2 weeks a year, or whatever, or the individual sessions. One weekend isn't gonna make or break this. And if it does, I'm gonna walk out, because that is asinine.
Depends on when you live there, not.
I've lived next to dirt bike tracks my whole life.
I've raced them, so I understand.
Yeah, so it's
So,
the,
Okay, for you.
that's all right.
Okay.
I've got 2 artificial knees
the
today. I
focusing
get
on
up.
the one race a week, or maybe 2, depending on if they have to be
Yeah, I
rained out somewhere else. That's,
I think the biggest issue is the training, and because it's more days in the year, it could be 5 days in a month. It could be more than that.
I feel comfortable with 80.
Okay.
So if you're training, what's your typical, how many? How many
20.
at a time?
No. 5 to 5 on average. We'll say 10.
Okay. So could you space it out where you didn't have that many bikes? So you didn't increase the noise level? Because 10 bikes are gonna make a lot more noise than 5 bikes or 6 bikes.
yeah, but you're also increasing the amount of time they're gonna be riding.
Right, but that's true, there'd be more days.
Keep in mind, some of these bikes are 50s and 60s, like a majority of these bikes are
Little bitty bikes. They're not the big
I
bikes.
mean, so the majority of his clients are kids and the parents, so.
So you're
Okay, so we're not talking about
We're not
big,
talking about 4-stroke. We're
Some,
not 50
yeah.
or 250.
okay, so you're talking about these smaller bikes?
Some of them.
50s and 60s.
Okay, that's a lot smaller. I mean, we're talking
And they don't,
just past mini bikes, basically.
So have you tested any bikes since this month, since
No.
you,
No, we did. I think we did that like 2 weeks ago.
so you haven't tested?
I have,
We really haven't had anybody over.
we really haven't had a reason to until Jennifer or,
Yeah.
the previous planning and zoning guy got a complaint.
Ben?
Ben Fleeger, yeah. Which he actually came to our house, and which I encourage everybody to drive by. And Jennifer said that she did, but she's not here. And she said when she drove by twice, and each time there was nothing going on, so which that's fine.
Okay, more questions for Emily and Eric while they're here? Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, like to keep it, comments now. Let's start with people that are for this CUP and zoning change. Can we have those people step to the podium, please? Anybody else?
Real quick.
Yeah, just say your name and. where you're
Jessica
from.
Deese.
Okay,
I live at 16349 Young Road. I just wanted to comment on the readings that we've done. Like we're kind of aimless here. Like we're kind of on the defense. We don't know really how to answer to this or put together a presentation. We're just answering to a complaint. But the videos that he took, those were, just to really get the experience, their experience, you know, just, we didn't know we had to get behind the bike, you know, we didn't know that. He was just trying to show you guys like what it would be to be there in person. So.
I think that's what we were looking for anyway.
Yeah.
Why that complaint was there.
Well, just to the answer the question you just had, like, have you guys, I don't think we knew to even do that. We're kind of just, like I said, aimless, trying to,
I think that's something that we want to see from you.
for sure.
That you're testing the bikes as they come in to make sure that they meet the criteria of the noise. And they're not coming in and shooting 140 decibels when they're revving up. When you do the proper test, you know, say, hey, you've modified your muffler.
For sure. Absolutely.
So that's what we want to get away from, to control the noise.
Yeah.
I don't think these people have a problem with you having a business over there. It's the noise.
Right.
You've got to put yourself in their position too.
Absolutely.
So we all got to try to be as good at neighbors as we can. So like I said, if we follow our criteria here, I think we can.
Absolutely.
You guys can work together.
And we already have, right? We've started to move the tracks. We're leveling stuff. We're preparing, right? So we don't have a problem with that. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for your comments.
I'm Brittany Thies. I live at 16543. I'm the house that's up in the corner, closest to the big track.
To the north up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm for it. My kids race. We travel all around Missouri and Kansas. There's a lot of tracks around, and my kids, they have their friends come down. They have their friends ride with them. It's just kind of our way of life. And I just wanted to say that I'm for it. I spoke last time, so I don't really have much more to say except for I am for it, and it's for my kids, and they love it, and I just don't want to see it go.
Good. Thank you, Brenda. Anybody else?
Yeah, I spoke last time. I'm the neighbor. Betty DeGrand.
Becky?
Betty.
Betty.
Yeah, or Becky, Debbie. I'll still answer.
Okay.
Everybody calls me something different. But anyways, yeah, I'm the one that lives more like, you know, where they used to have the other track that they now closed down. I never even heard anything. And I used to also work the third shift. Like I had to be at work at 10 o'clock and get off like 7 or 8 and come home and sleep, and nothing ever bothered me. And now I'm working early mornings and stuff, but still I have no problem with it. But I do have something to say, as if it was so irritating, the noise and stuff, why aren't the animals going crazy? Like the horses being all jumpy, and my cats, they're just laying, you know, when things scare them, they run, you know, and they freak out, but they're not even annoyed by nothing. In fact, I even have deer on my property. They're not even annoyed. They sleep on one side of my property. They do, seriously. That would be something that they would probably, if it was that loud, you know. And that's all I'm saying is I don't see any problem.
Okay.
And if my husband was here, he would tell you too, because we used to ride dirt bikes too when we were growing up, but in California. And they weren't the ones like they have. They were the loud enduro ones. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, now we'd like to hear comments from the proponents or the ones against the zoning change.
This is Dave and Cheryl, and we live south of the Thesis.
Right.
In the pictures that they showed of the property, you could see a barrier going north of Betty's house, going to Thesis property. And that is a barrier of pretty much solid trees that are probably 300 foot deep that goes from an open property of Betty's to the road, going from basically their house all the way to Thesis property. And I've noticed on elevations, a mile to the north is a Sterling Ranch, and their elevations are over 150 foot higher than our setting elevation where we sit. And then directly south across 52 Highway is Hamilton's. That's another barrier. And I've noticed with our open pasture, it's an open lane. And I believe that's why we get hit with amplified sound, because it's hitting the barrier from the north, it's hitting the barrier from the south. We've got barrier that is solid trees that also go a little bit to the east of the thesis, which kind of causes an open space from Young to a tree barrier and then Sterling Ranch. But I just kind of feel with this natural elevation barrier is probably the main reason why we get it so amplified and get hit, and we're getting hit. And I just want to express to the two very loudest times, of course, was in May when they had, I don't know if that was a sanctioned, but that was when they had over 300 some entries. And that was one of the times that I expressed to Eric that when we were on the porch, we had company and we could not even talk. And I believe it when they have over 150 bikers going simultaneously, and they've got the whole crowd of 300 people, it's loud. They're yelling because they can't hear over the bikes. And then they've got a microphone speaker going that is also loud. The campers run their generators. We can hear that amplified to our house. And when you add 150 bikes running at one time versus just one or two bikes, it's not going to just stay at 120 decibels. It's amplified. I don't know what else to say. And then there was another one in the end of October, first part of November. And yes, we have never been notified when they're going to have these. They start on Friday. The campers start coming in on Friday. They don't leave until Sunday. And in October, they ran for 9 solid hours. What I'm wondering is, even in their training days, if their hours are from 10 to 3, 9 to 2, it seems to us a little bit unfair, because that's the bulk of the day. When do we get to go out in our property in the bulk of the day that we don't have to listen to that? And it seems like it's always presidential of when they're running, when we can actually go out and do what we would like to do. And I just kind of feel that also, if they notify us, okay, we have no choice in what we're supposed to do. If we don't want to listen to it, we're supposed to leave for 3 days. It's almost seemingly like we don't have our own property rights. The sound comes across our property. They can't help that. We can't help that. But if it's going to come down to some kind of barrier to help this, then I'm gonna insist on some cement barriers to be put up. Because the tree barrier for Betty, I went over there and yeah, I couldn't hear it as much either. But when you get in our lane where there's no trees, and it's a lower area, it's loud. It amplifies. It's like an echo. So at last resort, I'm gonna insist some kind of cement barriers put up on our property line all the way to Young Road. If it's 30 foot high barriers, because part of our property before the fence line drops, and with that drop, the noise is just gonna come over anyway. And I'm not saying, you know, this is a good sport for kids. I'd rather see kids do this type of sport than be out running the streets, stealing cars or whatever. But I just feel that there's an appropriate place for everything. And I don't feel that in agricultural, residential, that this is an appropriate place. I don't feel that we can enjoy our property as much as they're enjoying theirs. And we haven't for a very long time. We just kind of day to day, okay, are they going to be running today? Or can I go out and do this today? Who enjoys going outside to garden or do anything when it's constant noise like that? And I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It's just the circumstance of what it is.
Okay, thank you.
I'm confused over this because she's saying 100 to 150 bucks. They're saying 10 to 20 bucks.
I'm saying.
I don't understand.
I'm saying.
She's talking about the races where there's 300 entries, not 300 total.
There's.
Right.
There's
okay.
separate bikes.
Movex.
Okay.
They host for Movex. The last time they had over 500 entries. And that was.
At that property.
At their property.
So that's what I'm not understanding.
So it's 500 entries, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's 500 bikes.
Well, there's
but they
write different styles of bikes,
Right.
different sizes, and
But-
entries.
So we'll
I mean, you could add 2, 3, 4 bikes to a person. I get that.
we'll follow up on that.
when all these bikes and people are added together, it is not a quiet sound.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more comments? Okay, seeing none. Now I'm going to ask you, we're going to discuss this as a committee.
I would like Mr. Thies to step back to the microphone and ask you a question.
Yeah, let me just, hang on, Eric. We're going to discuss this as a committee. We may ask questions and ask you back to the podium. But please let us get through this without comments, unless we ask you a question. Okay? Go ahead.
Mr. Thies,
Eric?
you said you're tearing down the jumps.
Yes.
Correct? What are you doing with all that dirt?
Leveling it back out because that's where it came from.
Is there any chance of building a barrier with it between your property and theirs?
So if you go across that tree line, if I stand at the back side of that tree line, I can't even see their house because that ground goes up and then it goes down. So I could try to build something, but there's no way I'm putting up a concrete wall. You're talking.
So no, we're not asking about that.
I would just ask you-
Eric, clarify, when you say the tree line, what's the tree line between you and your neighbor?
I can see the tree line here. It's in between.
Hang on.
You need the picture back up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you own the property on the south of the tree line or just the north side of the tree line?
We own
You own the property over here or just property up
here
here?
and here.
Okay, so you don't own anything down here?
That's their line. If I'm standing right there, I can't even see their house.
But do you own it? You couldn't build on that, or could you?
Yeah, well, yeah, on that side of the fence.
So on the
Okay,
north,
that's what
on the north side of the tree line, you couldn't build a berm? Is that what you're saying?
No, it would be on the south side.
So the tree line is not the property?
No,
Okay, so
we've
that's.
got
That's what I was wondering.
several feet to get to the back,
So what's the distance between the tree line and the property? Just approximate.
it varies a little bit because it curves in,
Could,
100 to 200 feet maybe.
could you do a berm at the property line? With that dirt?
Oh, well.
On your side of the property line?
I'd have to bring a dozer in and kind of reshape what's there now too, because that dirt's not gonna be near enough. I mean, you're talking well, how long is that property line? 350 feet maybe? No, it's more than that. She had, hold on, she's got a flat in here. You don't have that one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Where they're taking the track out. And
Here it is.
straight south.
I'm probably line clear down.
Right here.
No, on south.
No, this is that opening right there where the fence was, right?
Is that the property line?
Is this the property line out
Yes.
Yeah.
right here?
Yeah.
This is where you was standing on that corner when you you was standing right here
Yeah.
when you done that test?
Yeah. And then,
And then you had your four-wheeler sitting about here. So you
Yeah.
done that test right there.
yes, sir. But when I'm standing right at the tree line, just right,
It would,
right
it would
before,
only meet
I
down
can't
here,
see the
that's in
property.
between the house and,
because this,
that's where she says it funnels right to their house.
yeah, and this whole field's got a huge hump too. As does a lot of the ground around there. But that's how many feet it is. It's about 1,300.
I wasn't talking
So
about,
is this all trees here?
that's all tree.
Yeah.
So you would really only do it in those two gaps
Right here.
and down on the south, right
Yeah.
to the east, right there, and
Yeah.
that little gap. Those are the only two spots where sound would funnel through.
Mhm.
So those would be the only two areas I would suggest, not doing a whole.
So the answer is how high?
That's what we're about to discuss now.
Yeah.
Are you done with me?
Yep, thank you, Eric. Okay, so I think, I think what we need to do is come up with standards that we ask for, so they can operate this business. And I think it's gonna have to be pretty detailed, including, the type of testing they use for the cycles, the number of cycles at these large events, and an acceptable noise at the property line. Whether that's noise is, you get to that noise level with berms or what you do. I think we're gonna have to come up with an acceptable dBA noise level at the property line. And that's probably gonna have to be done, with an independent test in my mind.
I just don't understand why we don't follow the standard, whatever the national or state is, and say, okay, if it's 112, we go with 112. They change theirs, we change ours to match it.
Well, Michael, that is a test for the bike. So.
You're talking about away from the bike.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think the test at the bike, we follow the national standards.
Okay, I misunderstood.
And I might actually give them their choice on which type of testing they want to do.
Okay, so basically, we're trying to limit the noise just at their house.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Test information.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, so we've got to come up with an acceptable noise level at the property line. And then at that point, it's up to them to live up to that noise level.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's my thoughts.
I don't think we can get that resolved tonight.
Probably not.
I mean, too much to look at here.
Yeah. Now, what are you thinking?
As noted, Ms. Dees earlier said she would agree to the 80 at the property line. So that's what they would try.
Yeah, I just don't know if.
And that was
you
before
think
the-
80 is the right number?
I'm not the right person to ask.
I'm just.
Because, I mean, with the rock quarries, we've given them equal, I think we were talking about 70 for the
It's
battery.
that's a different kind of sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different.
That's a,
Different.
And we're talking about,
that's a constant humming instead of
Right.
for
Yeah.
5 hours. So to me, 80 is doable. Because that's almost a high idle on a truck.
80's about what?
Tractor.
80 to 84 would be about like sitting at on a where a semi has a chilling unit on it and it's running. That's about 80 to 84.
And I'm hard of hearing, so I just take the hearing aids out. I don't care, but
And that's
for
at the-
them, I don't know.
That's at the property line for,
But 80, 84 for 4 hours, that drive me crazy.
It really wasn't as bad as you think it would be on the 80 or 84. It really wasn't as bad because I went down and seen the Bitcoin Center down down in Mapleton down there, and it really wasn't that bad. You know, I mean, sitting there watching television, you're right around 80, 84. You know, if you're hard hearing like I am, but I agree with Daniel. I think 80 would be a good number to shoot for.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I think by the time it gets to their place, it's going to be less than that. It's going to be down around 70 by the time it gets to you guys. So, but I think we're going to have some stringent testing on all the bikes as they come in. Eric, when you was here before and you talked about when you guys have the special events, you said you guys didn't make any income off that, right?
She makes money. She owns a food trailer. So she sells food,
the property doesn't.
but we don't charge for practice, and that's on the website. The Missouri Vintage website, we make no money on practice. And then, Frank gets the riders pay depending, like, one rider may sign up for five classes for that day. That's how you get up to 500 entries. So, and I think that's $30 or $40. But Frank takes all that money. And if you want, I can have him make up a letter for that. We do not charge the riders to get in the gate. That's also on the Missouri Vintage website. And
So-
we're the only track that does that.
So how bad would it hurt you if you didn't have a special event? Financially, I want you to stay in business.
It's not bad.
What's that? I understand that.
We do it because they don't have enough.
But which would be better for you, for your son to have the business all the time of training
Stay in
kids,
business. Yes.
or have the special events?
Stay in
Where
business.
the special events were the major problem was for the noise, is when you had the special events.
Yes and no, because the special events are 2 days out of 365.
I understand.
The training is quite a bit more than that. So
Right, but I don't.
Training's one.
The training is more important than,
Yes.
than these special events.
Yeah, because I don't, he needs to make a living, so.
Exactly.
He's
And-
very,
and-
very good.
And we want him to make a living.
Yes. He's
We-
very good at it.
You know what I'm saying? We want you to have a business, but we need to accommodate both of you guys. I'm trying to work, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, if you didn't have that special event, you're gonna take some of the issues they have away.
But how much are you gonna lose on your food truck? Is that gonna be beneficial?
I think she brought in maybe $4,000, but but then she had several thousand in food expenses too.
Okay.
Because you try to plan for it, but you always buy way more than what you actually sell.
Right.
And,
Just trying to figure out how much financial loss you have without special events.
we don't, you can talk to any track owner, they don't get into the business to make money because they survive.
But you do sell something with the food truck, so you're
Yes,
making something
we do.
for that. I'm not
Yes.
saying you're making a killing, I'm not saying that.
Yes, we do.
But that would be a loss to you if you didn't have the food truck business. Okay.
What if, or I think we're jumping ahead, because
Okay.
what if they can maintain the 80
If they
decibels
could
with the
maintain
special
the 80
events?
at an event, I don't see an issue.
The only way we know is to have an event. But the only reason we did 2 events last year is because the Missouri Vintage Series had 2 tracks rain out and they could not reschedule. So he was calling around begging people. And they're short on tracks anyway. That's why they're coming over to Kansas now and doing Moto Farm in Parker. And then they're all going all the way to Wichita at a track called Jeeps because they don't have enough tracks in Missouri.
So you normally,
That or vintage friendly.
you normally do one a year?
Yes. We call it our Halloween race. We have a 4th of July party where we have over 100 people show up with campers and motorhomes, and we put on about a 20 to 25-minute fireworks show. Generators running all day, fireworks going off, and it's pretty loud.
Well, that's 4th of July, though.
Right.
Can I make a recommendation? He's right. Unless we had an event like that, we don't know what the readings are. The event, I want to say that on the schedule that they put out was October 18th. I can verify that. But we can have berms in place, the track redone, and we can have all of that set up. If it is out astronomically, we can't keep it to the 80, then we'll never have an event like that there again. That's a concession if that helps.
All right, thank you both.
And then just let us know how high you would like these berms too. Thank you.
Okay, so again, I think this is going to be pretty detailed conditions for the CUP. And I don't know that we can do that tonight.
But I like her idea.
Yeah.
You know, if we can't keep it at 80, then we just want to hold the special events. That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Suggestions, Jacqueline?
Well, I mean, the same way that we have other types of events where people petition the council for road closures, for example, in the cities, or for police escort because they're having a big event, right? So they ask the police to come and help with traffic or that sort of thing. You know, it seems to me that folks that want to have special events, whether it's fireworks, whether it's camping, there's no reason why they can't ask for permission to hold a special event as well. So that is another, you know, option. I do think that this is getting clunky, and so then you have the question of how are you going to enforce this? Are you expecting the codes enforcement officer to, you know, pitch a tent on their property and have a decibel meter and do all of those things? Or are you expecting those who are opposed to this to continue to call and email and, you know?
No, I think one of my ideas was to have a sound study done during training, require that once a year, twice a year, whatever it may be, from an independent service. I don't think you can, I don't think we can, codes enforcement can run out there every time they have training. But I do think we can require 1 or 2 a year, some service come in at their expense and take readings. But I think going forward, as far as tonight's concerned, I think, you know, as I see this, there's going to be several conditions to this CUP. And I want to be sure they're detailed and they're spelled out before we present that to the commissioners. Is that sound thinking?
I mean, so as it pertains to conditions under a conditional use permit, this body has to agree on those. And so as you move forward, you all need to decide how do you want to go about doing that. Does somebody want to draft a proposal for everyone's consideration? Does everybody want to, you know, provide their ideas for what types of conditions, if any, you know, they want to? And how sort of onerous are the body agreeing to multiple conditions?
Yeah, so that's a question for you. So let's say we do draft a proposal. Let's say I draft a proposal. Can we then email that to the committee and have them individually comment on that before we meet?
So that, you know, this is an open meeting, right? So to give notes before a meeting for consideration is one thing. To have comments or feedback is something else. They can be prepared to give their feedback whenever.
At the meeting. Got it. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I think that's what we'll do. I think we'll draft these conditions and then get them to everybody and plenty of time to study them. And then when you come in, you know, be ready to go through them and study them and comment on them. We're done hearing from the public. And we'll come up with those conditions to present to the commissioner. Is that agreeable to everybody?
I think it sounds good.
Okay. Al?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's what we'll do. So I need a motion to continue to table this conditional use permit.
I'll make a motion, we table it.
A second.
Second. Any discussion? In favor of tabling it, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We're gonna adjourn, but then I want.
Yeah.
So move to adjourn, second,
Second, third, fourth.
favor, adjourn. I get to use the gavel now. Okay, so we had scheduled a workshop to go over these regulations that we're considering.
I think we can talk about the fee thing.
Yeah, so, we've already kind of had a discussion about the year-round camping. Another thing that's come up are feedlots. Hal, why don't you give your take, or maybe you should
Yeah.
talk about the concerns in the feedlots.
So are you all starting the workshop now?
Yep.
Okay, so you adjourn the meeting.
Yes.
Yep.
You're calling to order your workshop.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have any. I'm not prepared to talk to you all about any concerns I have regarding the feedlot. You know that was an issue that was brought to this body as well as to the commission a few years ago. You know, sort of died on arrival type of a thing. But I don't know how this got brought up. I certainly didn't add it to the agenda for this, so I'm not prepared to give any.
Okay.
Anything about it?
Just,
Jenny asked if we could just table this till she can be here to discuss it with you guys.
okay.
Is there somebody, a person that's getting ready to put one in or one already existing?
Nope, it's a discussion about existing feedlots is what it is.
And I think it's the existing, or our existing regulation.
Correct.
I think we need to look at that.
Because I live next door to one, so I'm ready to discuss.
The existing regulations are a copy of what was the regulations in 1997. I looked that up today. So they changed nothing other than what they're calling it now is confined feeding operations, where in the old regulations, it were feedlots.
Okay.
But the rest of the wordage in it is exactly the same it was in 1997.
Is it out there in?
It's in our book. And he needs a book, and she needs a book, and Daniel needs a book.
Please put in your orders for books.
Where do I put it in at? You got a Dropbox?
Okay, we'll get you a book also. Okay, we'll make sure everybody gets a book. Just know that the feedlots are also controlled. I think it's the Kansas,
Right.
Yeah.
whatever it is, the feedlot deal. So just keep that in mind on that also. That's one of the main reasons this was brought up for discussion. So if we can just table that till Jenny can be here. I know she had some stuff prepared, but wasn't able to make it today.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect.
Let's talk a little about technology centers, battery storage, cryptocurrency mining. We've worked on combining we agreed to the battery storage regulations. Then we started working on cryptocurrency and data centers. And so we had to combine all those. That's what we've done in this. Hal and I worked on it and come up with a draft. It's pretty comprehensive. And I think at some point, we're going to have to probably go through it page by page.
Good job.
But just like the conditions for the conditional use permit that we talked earlier, what I'd like for you to do, this is a printed copy of it, is to take this home, go through it, jot your questions down or your suggestions down. So when we do get into it next time, we can do it in an organized fashion.
Okay.
The only thing we did not get through on that was domestic.
Okay.
I mean, there's domestic Bitcoin mining, domestic battery energy storage, and there's domestic, I don't know if there's a domestic data center, but there is some domestic stuff that we did not get into that. That is all the industrial stuff. You know, and I think we're gonna encourage them to come to our industrial sites. I mean, that's in our comprehensive plan. So if there's any place in the county that we do want something like that, that is the industrial. So.
Do we have anybody looking, or is this just in case?
Haven't heard, have you heard
Haven't
any
heard
Jess?
of anybody.
I didn't know if you'd heard of anybody that might be looking, so we need to rush through.
There is interest.
Okay, so we need to get this thing
Ed,
put together pretty quick.
It seemed interesting to me that Evergy wants to put in a new substation.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked that question. Because they require a lot of juice, so.
And I think we don't want to discourage that. I mean,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
power plant made jobs for hundreds and hundreds of people within this county and made good livings over there.
Yep. And the
It's made
construction,
a
when they
lot
had
of
the
people in
construction,
this
it was,
county a lot of money.
a lot of people worked over there too, so.
And that in turn, then people were all spending money here. So I think we need some more industrial, but I want to hold them to the industrial.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
Steve, anything?
Workshop is adjourned.
Amen.
Absolutely. Yes.
I don't think what I did. I just can't get it.
Hey, Jeffy.
Yeah, just a second.
So what's up with the film?
I feel like it's.
I mean, I thought we had all those others.
I'm against, because they're like.
Oh, that,